JB Cycles with update on April the 20th. So today I'm starting with a different chart than the normal one. This is the 3.5 year cycle for the S&P, and we see there should be at least about a good 6 months left of this bull market, or 6 to 12 months. However, it could be that we now will be starting to lose momentum and starting to see the beginning of a topping formation. So I could expect something like this, maybe going a bit sideways and then a last pop up and some kind of a topping formation in the winter, next winter, and then the next bear market. But right now it's too early to start a bear market, so we should be looking for a low. So this is my normal starting chart, and this is a mess. I'm a bit confused about the 4-week cycle. I'll come back to that. I drew 2 scenarios last weekend. Either we started a bounce or we needed more downside, and obviously we didn't get a bounce, and the downside was more went deeper than I kind of expected. But let's have a look at this one, the wavelets for the S&P. So here on March the 24th we had a strong geomagnetic storm, and I said that normally is initially bullish, but after a couple of weeks we will start to see a topping formation and then get a correction. So I said we should be looking for a top around mid or close to mid-April, and here I have drawn in black a typical scenario after such a geomagnetic storm. A pop up, typically 2 waves, and then the correction. And we got something similar. However, it didn't. It only managed one upswing, and then the second one was a lower top. So it started earlier than I expected, and we are seeing a ABC formation here. So this could be very close to a completed correction. However, with this, call it downside momentum, I would expect some kind of a bottom formation here, and it could maybe take a week or so to complete it. I have this primitive tool, this rectangle of about 26 trading days. I'm placing it here at the purple wavelet, and then it says I should look for a low at the end point, and that's in about 1 week. We had a long run above the 50-day moving average, and finally we broke below it after about 110 trading days. So now we are no longer overbought. Now we are getting oversold, and even we broke this brown line. I'm not quite sure what you would call that moving average. It's calculate. I'm calculating it by weighing the previous value by 39/40th, and the last closing date by 1/40th. Well, I don't know if you understood that, but anyway, it's kind of similar here to the 80-day simple moving average, but it behaves a little bit different. And from my experience, the market tends to respect this moving average. We see here we made a low just at the average, and then it was resistance, and well, looking back, very often corrections, they make a low around or just below this, average. So well, we are no longer overbought, and we are good to go for another rally, but first we have to make a low. And it should be in about 1 week's time. You know, this could be the low, and the next low could be a higher low or a double low. But we have the VIX. So my wavelet for the VIX is starting to suggest we may have a top now in the VIX. It's a little bit early, but it starts to look like a top. And inverting the wavelet, it's now starting to suggest we are seeing a low in the S&P. I showed you last weekend I had a scenario from the VIX, and we are kind of following the scenario. We went a bit deeper and further this downswing. Anyway, the scenario suggests there could be a low around here or maybe here, and that's in about 1 week or 10 trading days, a bit into that would be around early May perhaps, or end of April. Also here I have the 4-week cycle in orange, and you see the cycle was a bit disturbed or shifted by some X flares earlier this winter. So we had a low here. I'm looking at the red line. We're having a low here. It was maybe a shifted late, starting to get shifted late here. And then we have a pop-up, and the next low here, it's not really a low, it's more a sideways consolidation. Again, a little bit late this low before we got the pop-up, and then again there should be a low around here, and we should have the pop-up, but it failed. We had a drop down instead, and that's a typical pattern. You know, that can if something happens that sabotages this pop-up, and we get and we can't find new momentum, then it collapses, and then you have the correction. And maybe we can blame it on the geomagnetic storm a couple of weeks going back, because the bearish effect is lagging, it's coming later. So anyway, hourly data. So the Dow Jones Industrial, so here was the old 2-week oscillation, and then I think it shifted to this new one. Here the low was a bit early, and here the low was a little bit late, and I am seeing a A, B, C formation, and we are seeing a bottom formation, and we are breaking the trend line, and we are starting a new 2-week oscillation. But we have to see here. It could go to a little bit lower low, a double low, or a higher low. Also, if we really find momentum, we can rally and just go a little bit sideways and rally on. But I would be a little bit careful here and looking for the next long entry at the next swing low. And here I have the 10-week cycle down here with these yellow arrows, and we see this low was a bit late, and here I was a bit confused because I wondered, was this a 10-week cycle low? It was very early, and when we squeezed up here, I wondered, what is this, a fake breakout, or is it a new 10-week cycle generating such a scenario? If so, maybe we just crash down. But you know, with this momentum, we shouldn't just crash down, even if it's a fake break. We should look for a double top. I should have known that. And then we got the correction. I'm kind of suspecting that when we start this next 10-week cycle, maybe we won't break up to new all-time highs. Maybe making some kind of a cup with a handle formation here. Look, a low, we should be very close to some kind of a low, but maybe we have to wait for a week, then we should rally, but maybe this will be a longer consolidation phase before we break out to all-time highs later in the summer. So, see you!